Hey guys, Icy Cat here. Over the weekend at E3, we got our first look at when the new Xbox Scorpio, otherwise known as the Xbox One X, is going to be released. Combined with last year's release of the PlayStation 4 Pro, 4K gaming is now a reality for console gamers. So the question now is, should Ubisoft release 4K gaming assets like they have on PC for these console versions of the game? Let's talk about it next. So this last weekend over E3, we got the first real looks at what the Xbox One X, otherwise known as the Xbox Scorpio, is going to look like. We know it's coming in November, and we know the price point is $499. Now, I did kind of lump into the intro the PlayStation 4 Pro console as being part of the 4K gaming, and the PlayStation 4 Pro does have some issues with arriving at actual true 4K gaming. It gets pretty close, and it fudges some things and upscales other things, but I'm going to call it close enough for the sake of argument. Now, if you play on PC at all, you do have available the ability to go and download the HD texture pack, which provides 4K texture assets to the game. I have these, I've downloaded them, and my opinion on it is that they do make the game look nicer and sharper. However, it's not like a night and day difference. But I do need to be 100% clear on the fact that I do not have a 4K graphics card, nor do I have a 4K monitor for my PC. So I'm seeing the benefit of some extra clarity, but the resolution for me is still going to top out at that 1080p because that's all that I can display. I'm not getting that extra benefit of being able to take advantage of the 4K palette that's there in those textures. One question that may come up is, as I'm showing this gameplay footage, why am I not showing what it looks like using the HD textures? And one of the reasons is what I just stated. I don't have 4K output on my video graphics card on my PC, nor do I have a 4K monitor. If you're not watching this YouTube video on a 4K monitor and I didn't upload it in 4K, you wouldn't be able to appreciate much of the difference anyway, so there's not a whole lot of point. The other reason is that the big difference in the clarity between the two versions doesn't just come in the map design itself. Actually, from what I've seen, the map differences, the graphics quality settings between the HD and the Ultra settings versus what you get on console isn't necessarily night and day. I mean, one does look definitely better than the other, but the bigger difference seems to come in on the actual first-person textures. You'll see the details on the gloves, or if you look down at the other parts of the uniform, at other players in their third-person perspective in their uniform, the textures that are on the guns themselves will look a lot crisper and cleaner and overall better. These will be the differences that you'll notice more. The differences in the levels themselves aren't necessarily that huge, and that's the other reason I'm not showing any PC gameplay. Although I do have Rainbow Six on both PC and console, I spend all of my money for microtransactions on the console side of the equation. So I wouldn't really be able to show you the difference between what some of the skins and textures look like on one versus the other because I haven't put any money into the PC version. I very rarely play it. I'm just not a keyboard and mouse kind of a guy. I use a controller. While I do enjoy the accuracy that a mouse gives me, I just can't get used to controlling movement with the keyboard. It's awkward for me. And I'm sure I could take a lot of time to train myself to learn how to do it, but I just don't have that kind of time available. Playing with the controller works for me on console, and besides, that's where all the friends that I play the game with. I play with a lot of real-life friends and family and people that I've actually met in person or through other connections. I tend not to really play with random people too much, and all of my core group of fellow players is on the console. So now that we've got all of that aside, let's again talk about the issue at hand, and that's these assets already exist for the PC side of the equation. And now both major console platforms, Xbox and PlayStation, have either received or are getting true 4K gaming experiences, or close enough in the case of the PlayStation. So is the time right for Ubisoft to go ahead and make those texture upgrades available for those players on the new consoles? Even if you're on PC, you may not have experienced this. As I said, if you don't have a 4K graphics card or a 4K monitor, there's very little reason for you to take advantage of them. It is a free download, but if you don't have any way of viewing them in their 4K output, it becomes questionable how much benefit you get. You will see a little bit of clarity increase, but not to its full advantage. Another big reason that people may not have gotten it on the PC even though it's free is that it is big. It is a 28 gigabyte download. The texture asset pack is huge. For me, it wouldn't be a big deal. I have a 1 terabyte external hard drive hooked up to my console so that when I do have downloadable games or downloadable content, I'm not really worried about my storage space, and I can always upgrade that to another drive that's bigger if I need to. But not everybody has an external hard drive hooked up to their console, so there could be some storage issues there. Space is definitely more limited on a console if you're not using external storage. Most PCs can generally handle something of that size and not be too worried about it. Now, we know that both Microsoft and Sony have made it clear that games that are available to play on the PS4 need to be able to work on the PS4 Pro as well. The same will hold for the Xbox Scorpio. However, as we've already seen with the PlayStation 4 Pro, games can be optimized and upgraded to get enhanced visuals out of the Pro version. And this is where something like this could come in. So essentially, if you have the base game on one of the consoles already, it would be just like the PC, where if you want the added value of the extra graphic quality, you can download the free HD 4K texture pack. And there's some interesting thoughts behind the settings that go into the game. The graphics settings on console can't really be changed. They're fixed. They are what they are. And this is very easy to do. Each platform has its own settings that are already optimized for it. PC has all kinds of settings that you can turn on or off. The reason, of course, being for that is because there's no way to account for everyone's PC build. Many people have customized their PCs or built their own. The performance on one PC may be nowhere near the performance level on someone else's PC, and they need to be able to accommodate for that. Whereas everybody playing a game on an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 is going to have the same experience because they all have the same hardware installed. The console settings for Rainbow Six Siege sit somewhere around medium settings on PC for graphics quality. Some seem to be a little better, but overall it's optimized to make sure that you get the same experience across the platform, staying at full 60 frames per second. Now on PC, not only is the ability to grab the 4K asset pack completely optional, but in fact many people will intentionally step the graphics quality settings down. They won't even play on the max settings available to them on PC because they want to kind of take away all of the flashy elements that might distract from gameplay. They also want to optimize to make sure that they've got the fastest frame rate possible. Again, not everyone's PC is exactly the same, so maybe disabling, turning off, or otherwise dumbing down some of the graphics settings features will enable you to have that much smoother experience. These are the people that are not worried about the actual game looking good. They're far more worried about the game performing at peak levels. But on the console side of the equation, that isn't something you really have to worry about because you're not necessarily getting a different experience from any other console player that you're paired up against. If Ubisoft sets up a patch that optimizes either of these consoles to be able to play with these higher 4K settings, but be able to maintain the same specific target frame rates to deliver the same experience, then it shouldn't matter if you're playing on a PS4 versus a PS4 Pro, or an Xbox One versus an Xbox One X. So if this is coming down to just a matter of preference, then is it really going to matter if they do it or not? Well, in some ways yes, and in some ways no. I mean, we definitely want to be able to play the best looking version of the game that we can play without sacrificing performance. We've already talked about that. But do you get any advantages from doing so? Kind of. When you play on console, you're used to seeing it look the way that it does. But then when you play on PC with high settings, it doesn't necessarily look or feel any different, unless you were to put them side by side. And again, we're not talking about any night and day differences, it's more of a difference in the level of clarity. The textures are just sharper and detail is clearer. The console version looks almost blurry in comparison because the resolution is so much lower. It's sort of like the differences between DVD and Blu-ray. You can still watch a good movie on DVD, but if you want it to look that much better, you can watch it on Blu-ray. It's not going to look like a different movie, but it will look nicer and sharper overall, more vibrant color, and just make for, in general, a better viewing experience. Now, as of this time, Ubisoft has made no direct comment on whether or not this is something that they're looking at doing or if they will. This doesn't require them to make like a new version of the game or anything like that. This would just be enabling something that you can download that already exists on PC and just making it compatible with the top tier versions of each of the two major consoles. This would require some work on their end to make it compatible and happen, but it's not like they'd have to develop like a brand new Game of the Year edition or some other separate version of the game. But since it's already been done for the PC version of the game, and since Sony and Microsoft are encouraging developers of existing titles to go ahead and make some of those visuals upgraded and enhanced for already released games, this is something that could foreseeably happen. But keep in mind, to be able to take advantage of it, you would have to have one of the new 4K versions of each of those consoles, and you would also have to have a 4K TV to take full advantage of it. Although Sony and Microsoft do report that you still get upgraded visuals with upscaling even if you don't have a full 4K TV, they do claim that the games do look visually nicer and sharper on a 4K system even if it's not a 4K TV. But if you've got that 4K TV to go with the 4K gaming device, then you'll really be able to take full advantage of those visuals. So what do you guys think? Would you like to see them make this option available just like they have it on PC? Has the time come for 4K gaming to truly make its mark on the console versions of Rainbow Six Siege now that the capability exists? Let me know down in the comments below or share with me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. If you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, tips, tricks, reviews, and more for Rainbow Six Siege, then please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.